Discover the incredible journey, a black girl's heartwarming feast with empty plates revealed through love and dreams. In the heart of bustling Atlanta, where the bright lights could never outshine the warmth of a close-knit neighborhood, lived Aaliyah, an extraordinary 12-year-old with a spirit as vibrant as a summer sunrise. Her world was painted with tender, everyday struggles, where thinning walls held laughter and dreams as tightly as they held the fading sounds of her mother's distant laughter from the diner just a few blocks away. Each evening, Aaliyah shuffled through her front door, greeted by the cozy aroma of soul food, her stomach a vessel for hope, yet often filled with just enough for tomorrow. Grandma's small apartment was a sanctuary amidst the hustle, a bustling hive of family where food and love overflowed. Surrounded by uncles, cousins, and warmth, everyone gathered close. Stories spun like golden threads through the air, binding them together despite the empty plates scattered at home. It usually started with Grandma's famous cornbread, a dish made with every ounce of love, and it became the lifeline for Aaliyah as the reality of poverty loomed heavy at their dinner table. But here, over laughter and shared memories, poverty became merely a backdrop to love. Then came the announcement of the cooking contest. Aaliyah's heart raced like a hummingbird at the thought. A chance to showcase her culinary talents could mean hope not only for her but for her family as well. Soaring dreams wrapped in spicy aromas and simmering sauces. She envisioned gilded plates stacked high and her name shining in lights. Yet doubt crept in, whispering that such dreams were for those who lived outside this neighborhood. But this was Aaliyah, a girl tethered by loyalty to her family, her younger brother's timid smile flickering in her mind, fueling her resolve. And when a well-meaning neighbor twisted their story into a clumsy rumor, the weight of misunderstanding pressed down on her shoulders, threatening to crush her spirit. What if everyone sees us as less, she thought, the sharp sting of judgment leaving her chest tight. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined to rise above the misconceptions, Aaliyah rallied the neighborhood kids to cook together, turning their struggles into a community feast. Let us show them what we're made of, she declared, the echo of her statement igniting enthusiasm in their eyes. Soon, laughter filled the streets as they transformed their otherwise scattered blend of ingredients into rich, flavorful dishes vibrant with the colors of their culture and resilience. As the contest beckoned, Aaliyah hurled herself into every chop, every season, honing not just her cooking, but the very bonds that stitched their lives together. With each new recipe, Aaliyah savored the bittersweet, learning that food was about more than flavors. It was about love, family, and the scars and joys they wore proudly. But just as her dreams started to rise, a familiar face from the past appeared in the audience, tangled in memories long hidden. Aaliyah stood poised before the crowd, plagued by fears of judgment and uncertainty. Would she dare confront her family's truths? The air cracked with tension, and Aaliyah could feel that the night held a lesson much deeper than empty plates. As she prepared to present her dish, the crowd's mixed reactions built a nerve-wracking cacophony, leaving Aaliyah at the precipice of something greater. The stage was set. This was not just about food. Would she summon the courage to redefine her family's story once and for all? Aaliyah's heart sped up, thudding like a drum in her chest. The crowd swayed with anticipation, but her eyes were locked on the figure from her past. It was Miss Harper, her former teacher, a woman whose eyes used to beam with pride but now looked on with a mixture of confusion and pity. Aaliyah's breath hitched. Did Miss Harper remember the little girl who once struggled to find her voice? Did she bring the whispers of the past with her, or had she come to celebrate the girl Aaliyah was becoming? With shaky hands, Aaliyah lifted her spatula, and as she did, her thoughts fluttered between past and present. The scent of spices danced in the air, mingling with the warmth of her family's encouragement. She recalled nights spent in Grandma's kitchen, laughter bursting through the air as they mixed flour and sugar, love and hope. Aaliyah had learned that flavor could bring back memories, and tonight, she wanted to create a taste that encapsulated everything that made her who she was. Just before stepping into the spotlight, she took another glance at Miss Harper. This was at a moment to tackle the misunderstandings that had shadowed her family's name, turning those empty plates into a fusion of culture and strength. "Hello, everyone," she called out, the words tumbling from her lips like an ocean tide. The crowd hushed, leaning in to hear her. "Tonight, I've cooked something special," she paused, gathering her thoughts. "This dish represents my family, our struggles, and our love." She could feel the warmth of Grandma's spirit brimming inside her as she continued, "It's a recipe passed down through generations, cooked with pride and resilience. We may not have a lot, but we have each other, and that's worth far more than gold." Her voice surged with newfound strength. The mixture of hope and fear intertwined within her, igniting a spark. She presented her dish, a colorful spread of spicy jambalaya, rich collard greens, and sweet corn pudding, each element telling a story of family and community. The vibrant colors brightened the stage, much like the spirit of the people in her neighborhood. Eyes shifted across the crowd, captivated by the aroma and the backstory that came with it. Aaliyah saw whispers of interest on the faces of the judges, some were even nodding. She felt their hesitation melt away, maybe they were beginning to see beyond the empty plates, but then, her gaze drifted back to Miss Harper. Would she really understand? Would she see how hard Aaliyah had fought to be here, to showcase the beauty she always believed lay within? The silence stretched out, thick with unspoken words, as the audience awaited the next moment to unfold. Just then, amidst the anticipation, a flicker of doubt bubbled up inside Aaliyah. What if they just saw her as another kid from a tough neighborhood? What if her journey wasn't enough? Could she truly convey the heart behind her dish and break the chains of misunderstanding? For a split second, she hesitated. Then she caught the warmth of her brother's smile in the crowd and recalled the laughter and love that had built her up. Gathering every ounce of courage she had, Aaliyah raised her chin slightly and gave her final pitch. "This doesn't just represent my family, it represents us all. We're more than our circumstances. We belong here together." The crowd shifted, whispers blooming into applause. The raw emotion hung in the air, a tangible connection, a tapestry woven from understanding. As she stepped back, a flood of nervous excitement washed over her. Just then, the judges began to deliberate, and Aaliyah felt her heart sink into a whirlpool of uncertainty. She knew the battle wasn't just against her fears, it was against a world that often painted people with broad strokes based on where they came from. Would her dish champion her cause? Just as the judges began to raise their heads, a sudden commotion broke out at the back of the audience. Aaliyah's breath caught in her throat as she turned to see who had entered. It was someone she never expected to see, someone who could change everything. Would this unexpected arrival alter the course of her journey? Aaliyah's heart raced as she squinted towards the entrance, her stomach knotting. People shifted around her, murmurs rising in a swell that threatened to drown out her resolve. The figure gliding through the crowd was unmistakable. It was her father, Malik. She hadn't seen him in years. There he was, standing tall but looking worn, his face a map of regret and resilience. Aaliyah had spent countless nights dreaming of this moment, imagining what it would feel like to have him back, to hear him cheer her on. But now, as she soaked in his presence, insecurities clawed at her. Why now? Was he proud or just curious? The judges exchanged glances, their deliberation momentarily forgotten. The murmurs from the crowd crescendoed, and Aaliyah felt the weight of their opinions press against her. She couldn't let fear overtake her. This was her moment. Her brother, Amir, bounced on his feet, shouting, "Dad, over here." The excitement in his voice was infectious, lifting Aaliyah's spirits even if just a tad. Rallying her thoughts, she turned back to the judges, determined to focus on the task at hand. "This meal is more than just food, it's a narrative of love and survival," she declared, her voice steadier, clearer. "We each have our stories, and those stories can thrive through sharing our cultures." As she watched the judges' expressions, Aaliyah felt a flicker of confidence ignite in her chest. Her father's unexpected arrival had sparked a resilience she thought fleeting. She remembered all the moments she'd spent regretting their past, but now she was here, showcasing her truth. Ms. Harper's eyes now glistened with tears, a soft smile breaking through her previously stoic expression. Aaliyah's heart swelled. Maybe this was the moment they both needed. Maybe Ms. Harper could see the girl Aaliyah had fought to become. Malik made his way closer, weaving through the crowd until he was just feet away. His expression was serious but loving. Aaliyah caught his eye, and a silent understanding passed between them. This was her chance to pursue her dreams, a moment to bridge that gap of time lost between them. "Breathe, Aaliyah," she whispered to herself, letting the air fill her lungs like the sweet aroma that surrounded her dish. The applause had faded, but now the air was thick with expectation, hers and the crowd's. Then, unexpectedly, Malik stepped forward, calling out to the judges with a voice that echoed through the hall. "I want you all to know, she is not just cooking for a prize. My daughter, she is serving up a heritage, a lifetime of resilience in every bite." This wasn't just about the competition anymore. It was about family. With renewed vigor, Aaliyah met their gazes with fire in her own. "This dish is my story. My family's legacy. It's the warmth of our kitchens and the strength within us. It's about community and breaking barriers." Nods rippled through the audience, and she felt the shared spirit of their journey course through her. She was not alone. As the judges began raising their cards, Aaliyah could hardly breathe. Hope wrestled with uncertainty in her heart, set within the grand tapestry of beginnings and endings, and then, just as the room held its breath, a sound rippled from the back once more, pulling Aaliyah's focus. A voice, loud and clear, shattered the tension. "Wait." The voice was familiar but bare, it commanded attention. Aaliyah's heart leapt in confusion. Who could it be now? What could they possibly have to say that would change everything yet again? As eyes darted to the source of the interruption, Aaliyah braced herself. What awaited beneath the surface of this unfolding moment? Aaliyah's gaze darted through the crowd, desperately trying to identify the source of the unexpected voice. It took just a heartbeat for her to recognize the owner, her longtime friend, Layla. The girl's brown curls bounced energetically as she hurried forward, her face flushed with urgency. The tension in the room thickened, and heads turned in curiosity. "Layla?" Aaliyah called, confused. "I just wanted to say something," Layla exclaimed, her breath catching in her throat. The crowd's murmurs softened as they focused on the girl who had always been a source of strength for Aaliyah. Before she could lose her nerve, Layla continued, "Aaliyah, you've fought so hard to get to this moment. You're not just a contestant, you're a voice for anyone who has ever felt overlooked. Your story matters." Aaliyah's eyes widened, and her heart quickened. She felt a rush of warmth at Layla's words, but the fear of being exposed gnawed at her insides. What could Layla say that would change everything? "Thank you, Layla," she managed, but the unease hung heavy in the air like a dark cloud. "I know how hard this has been for you." Layla took a step closer. "Don't hide that fire inside you. Your voice has always been so powerful, and you have to remember that love is at the center of what you're creating today." Suddenly, the crowd erupted into chatter. Two new emotions spilled out: admiration for Aaliyah and trepidation about the competition's outcome. Aaliyah could feel eyes on her, waiting, judging, but she also sensed admiration woven within the whispers. Her father's presence loomed behind her like an anchor, and the mixed emotions tangled inside Aaliyah began to untangle, thread by thread. She took a step toward Layla, her confidence rising as she spoke. "You're right. I want to share my story not just with these judges, but with everyone who hears me. We need to break down walls." Malik nodded in support, his expression encouraging. His pride shone through, and Aaliyah realized she wasn't just cooking for a competition, she was cooking for every girl who had ever doubted herself, every family who had fought to be seen. Layla beamed at her, a reflection of her own budding strength. "That's the spirit. Show them what you can do." Taking a deep breath, Aaliyah turned back to the judges. "I will not just serve you food, but a piece of my heart. Amid the murmurs and rising anticipation, Malik stepped forward again, breaking through the tension. "She deserves every bit of recognition for her courage," he declared, his voice resonating throughout the hall. "This is about more than food, this is about healing and coming together after years of separation." Aaliyah felt her fears begin to evaporate like steam from her dish, replaced by a warm rush of hope and pride. The judges exchanged glances, captivated by the raw energy in front of them. Aaliyah's moment felt as grand as a symphony, her voice rising into a crescendo, gathering everyone in a wave of shared warmth. Just as the judges seemed ready to put their pens to paper, a shadow fell over the stage. A looming figure emerged near the back of the crowd. A detail of the figure shot through Aaliyah like an electric shock. It was her estranged uncle, Omar, stepping forward with a fierce determination plastered on his face. "Hey!" he called, voice booming. "We can't let this end without me saying my piece." Aaliyah's heart dropped. She hadn't heard from him in years either. What could he possibly want? Was this moment about to shift again? The colorful tapestry she had begun to weave now felt fragile as she faced yet another confrontation. Would this just be another layer of chaos, or could this be a moment of family redemption? Aaliyah braced herself, hoping that the threads of their stories could still knot together in a way she never expected. When Omar stepped forward, the crowd seemed to collectively hold its breath. Aaliyah felt the tension winding around her like a taut string, and her heart raced with a mix of confusion and dread. What could her uncle want? After so many years of silence, why now? She scanned the faces in the crowd. Layla, Malik, her father, all of them looked just as puzzled as she felt. Aaliyah's palms felt clammy, and she wiped them on her apron, trying to ground herself. "Omar," she called out, her voice steadier than she felt. "What are you doing here?" "This isn't I know," he cut her off, raising a hand as if to calm her. "But this is important." His voice softened slightly, almost vulnerable. "You need to hear me out." Aaliyah took a step forward, resisting the urge to retreat. With the audience's eyes locked on them, she could feel their anticipation. It was heavy and suffocating. "Go on," she prompted, crossing her arms tightly. "I've seen what you're doing up here," Omar gestured to the simmering pots behind her. "You're putting your heart into it. You've grown into someone incredible, and you deserve to know your family struggles too." His words hung in the air, and Aaliyah flinched. While part of her wanted to hear what he was saying, another part was scorched by years of hurt. "And what would you know about struggles?" She shot back, the heat of old wounds boiling over. "You walked away, didn't you?" A murmur rumbled through the crowd. She could feel Malik's hand on her shoulder, trying to anchor her, to remind her of the moment. But Aaliyah couldn't let it go, not now. "You don't just get to show up and talk about family when you've been gone." Omar's brow wrinkled, his expression a deep mix of regret and determination. "I know I messed up. I should be been there for your father and you. But I've been trying to change, to make things right. I want to be part of this, a part of your life again." Aaliyah struggled with his words. Could someone really change after so long? In her heart, she wanted to believe it, but the scars of abandonment were fresh in her mind. She glanced at her father, seeing the storm of emotions raging behind his stoic facade. "Aaliyah," Malik whispered, leaning closer to her. "Your choice here could mean a lot for your family. It's not just about the competition anymore." She nodded, absorbing his words, the weight of the moment sinking deeper. She turned her focus back to Omar, who looked smaller than before, as if the burden of his choices was an anchor. "You need to show me, Uncle," Aaliyah finally said, her voice firmer but softer, too. "You want to be part of my life? Then show me how you're changing. Show up for us. For our family. Not just today." Tears glistened in Omar's eyes. Aaliyah almost felt for him, but the past echoed loudly in her mind. The crowd behind her seemed to sense the shift, whispers darting like quicksilver as they waited on every word. "Okay," Omar said, his voice breaking slightly. "I promise I will. I'll make amends, and I'll better myself. Just give me the chance to prove it. With her heart thudding in her chest, she looked around the room. The future felt uncertain, a web of connections she hadn't anticipated, and yet something deep inside her flickered a fragile hope. Then, as if the universe conspired to thicken the air again, one of the judges stood up, drawing attention away from her emotionally charged family moment. He tapped the table lightly, clearing his throat loudly. "Aaliyah, if you're finished with this conversation, we'd love to hear that piece of your heart you promised us." Aaliyah stood frozen, feeling the weight of unfinished business between her, her uncle, and the expectations of those around her. She turned back toward the judges, her heart racing. Could she truly pour her soul into her dish when so much was left unspoken? The stage was hers again, but the shadows of unresolved ties loomed larger than before. Aaliyah took a shaky breath, facing a pivotal choice that could either unravel or fortify her purpose. As she stepped forward, a spark ignited within her. This might just be the moment to embrace both her story and her family's history, but what would happen if the words she spoke changed everything forever? Aaliyah took a deep breath, stepping into the spotlight as the murmurs of the crowd faded to silence. Her heart was a wild drum in her chest. She could hear nothing but the sound of her own thoughts, tangled and raw. How could she share her heart when it felt as if it was split in two? The judges were watching, their expressions full of curiosity. But all Aaliyah could think about was Omar's presence. The realization that the man who once left them now stood in front of her, promising to change, felt surreal. How could she trust him? She began, her voice trembling slightly. This dish. Aaliyah's mind raced. It's called Unity Stew. It's a blend of spices from my family's different backgrounds. Each ingredient symbolizes a piece of who we are. She added, but, more than that, it represents what it could mean if we come together. Aaliyah caught Malik's supportive gaze, his soft smile urging her to keep going. The audience held their breath, every eye glued to her. This stew is about reconciling flavors like families must reconcile their differences. With every word, Aaliyah found a growing courage. Just like this recipe, my life has been a mix of joy and pain, bitterness and sweetness. It tells the story of my family, of our struggles, and now, the hope I feel. She stirred the pot slightly, the fragrant steam rising up like joyful whispers around her. I'm still learning about my past, and I know there's a lot that needs to be resolved. If I am to believe in second chances, I need to start with understanding my family more, even if that means confronting fears. The weight of her vulnerability hung in the air, and the crowd seemed to lean in, captivated. For the first time today, Aaliyah felt anchored. Omar, she turned to him, her words a bridge. You're right. We all have struggles, and maybe I've held on to anger because it's easier. But I want to believe that we can put the pieces together. Tears glittered in her eyes for the second time that day, but instead of pain, they held a shimmer of hope. If we can start here, with simple ingredients, maybe we can build a new foundation. Aaliyah looked back at the judges, feeling a rush of clarity. The heart of cooking is about bringing people together. And maybe, by sharing my heart today, I'm also inviting my family to do the same. The room was still as she finished, the weight of her words sinking in. She dared a glance at Omar. He was nodding, visibly moved, a mixture of gratitude and awe crossing his face. The judge who had prompted her spoke up, his voice warm. Aaliyah, what you've shared is incredibly powerful. Your dish encapsulates a journey of understanding. With the crowd now bursting into soft applause, Aaliyah felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had poured out a piece of her soul, and in doing so, felt the chains of her past start to loosen. But moments later, the applause faded as the head judge turned serious, leaning forward. This may not be over yet, Aaliyah. Her heart quickened. What more could they want from her? Before we reach a decision, we need to talk about what's next for you and Omar. Can you both commit to this path you've begun? Aaliyah exchanged a nervous glance with her uncle. The future still felt uncertain, but there was something in her that sparked with potential the promise of healing. Would they dare to take that leap together? Aaliyah's stomach twisted at the judge's question. Commitment. The word echoed in her mind, tightening the knot of anxiety. Could she really trust Omar? Could she trust herself to let go of the past? The silence stretched, heavy as a weighted blanket. She felt the eyes of the crowd on her, a blur of faces watching, waiting. Her heart pounded against her ribs, a reminder that this wasn't just about cooking, this was about family, forgiveness, and moving forward. She glanced at Omar, who met her gaze with an intensity that both frightened and comforted her. Was he really ready to open the door to the past he'd once shut? Memories of their childhood flooded back, moments wrapped in laughter but also laced with hurt. With every second that passed, those memories ignited a flickering hope inside her. Yes, she heard her voice say. It was quieter than she expected, a barely there promise. But it held strength. I want to commit. We need to try. Aaliyah's heart swelled and sank all at once, relief mingling with a sharp edge of fear. What if it didn't work out? But then again, what if it did? The possibilities tangled in her mind like the ingredients of her stew. Omar shifted on his feet, his shoulders slightly hunched. Her breath caught as he spoke. I'm ready. I want to be a better man, for you, for us. His words tumbled out, raw and genuine. The vulnerability in his voice all but crumbled the walls Aaliyah had built. The judges exchanged glances, nodding as if they could sense the mutation of hope flowering in the crowded room. The head judge leaned in closer. That's all we need to hear. Taking steps isn't just about cooking, but about relationships too. It's commendable to recognize that. His words wrapped around Aaliyah like a warm hug. Another judge chimed in, each ingredient in your dish tells a story. And each decision you make here today sets the tone for a new chapter. The audience was buzzing now, energy palpable as they shared knowing looks and whispered encouragement. Aaliyah could feel it, an undercurrent of support surrounding her. Suddenly, she remembered Malik, standing quietly off to the side, his strength evident in the way he'd always been her rock. And there are others in my family to consider. Aaliyah turned back to the judges. I want to fix things with them, too. It's not just me and Omar. It's about all of us learning to come together. The room fell silent again, but this time it felt like a calm before the storm, a storm of change and reconciliation. The judges nodded approvingly, and the head judge smiled, reassuring her. Just then, the air was thick with anticipation, and Aaliyah felt it, a push toward something greater, the thrill of a journey just beginning. But beneath that excitement, an inkling of doubt stirred. What if the journey held painful confrontations? What if some stories were too broken to mend? As the judges prepared to deliberate, Aaliyah felt her heart racing at the thought of the decisions that lay ahead. All she could do was wait, with anxiety and hope dancing within her. Could she truly embrace the future, knowing the past would be right there beside her, waiting to be healed? She glanced again at Omar, his face a mixture of determination and uncertainty. He seemed to sense her doubt, and for a brief moment, they shared a silent understanding, a thread of connection that hinted at the potential for a fresh start. Would that thread hold? Could they weave something beautiful out of their tangled past? As the deliberation continued, Aaliyah's thoughts spiraled forward. The future awaited, filled with both promise and peril. All she had to do was step into it. What would happen when the decisions were made? Would they all find the courage to embrace the changes ahead? The judges were deep in conversation, their heads bent together, murmurs weaving through the air like a soft hum of anticipation. Aaliyah's fingers fidgeted with the edge of her apron, anxiously waiting for their verdict. Each tick of the clock seemed to pulse in time with her heart. Do you think they see us? Omar's voice broke through her swirling thoughts. He leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. It feels like an eternity. They have to see us, Aaliyah replied, her voice steadier than she felt. They have to understand what's at stake. The warmth of his presence anchored her, but self-doubt bubbled up again. What if they didn't see the hard work? What if they saw only the chaos from their past? She stole another glimpse at Omar. He was staring at the judges, his jaw set, determined. As the deliberation continued, Aaliyah's mind drifted to Malik. He had always been the glue, unexplained ties binding them as siblings, protecting and supporting each other through thick and thin. Would he understand this leap of faith she was taking? Would he be proud? The lingering tension in the room weighed heavily on her. She could feel the crowd, a sea of faces, holding their breath. Then, the head judge stood, his face serious. "We know how difficult this is for you both," he began, slowly scanning the audience. "But you have chosen the path of commitment, an important and courageous step. Today is more than just about this competition, it is a testament to your willingness to forge a new future. Let us not forget, though, that the ingredients of your journey are not just the choices you've made, but the people who share your table." Aaliyah felt a rush of warmth flood her chest at those words, yet unease settled like a stone in her stomach. "With that said," the judge continued, "we need to recognize that a commitment doesn't always yield simplicity. Healing takes time, trust is hard-won, and family ties are sometimes tangled." The buzz of whispers rolled through the crowd. Aaliyah's heart quickened. What did that mean for them? "Do you think they'll let us move forward?" Omar whispered, gripping her hand tightly. "I have to believe they will," she said, though uncertainty twisted in her gut. The head judge finally nodded, and Aaliyah could see the relief on the faces in the audience, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was unspoken. "Tonight, you will cook for not only the judges but also for your families, your chosen family. It's time to invite them into this journey. Together, you will create a dish that represents not just who you are but who you're willing to become." Her heart sank, and excitement surged all at once. "What? Our families?" Aaliyah barely managed to whisper. Omar's eyes lit up with understanding. "This could be what we need. And what if they don't accept it?" Aaliyah couldn't hide the worry that crept into her voice. As the judges began to break for a short intermission, the reality of their task settled in like a heavy blanket. Aaliyah's chest tightened as the crowd began to stir. This was no longer just a competition, this was their chance to bring everything back together. Yet, her mind was racing. What would Malik say? Did she have the courage to face their past wounds in the open light once more? Omar sensed her fear. "We can't run from it, Aaliyah. We've got to go in head first. Head first into a family reunion with everything at stake." "I'm not sure," she replied, biting her lip. But even as she said it, a simmering hope began to rise. This wasn't just about them. It was about all of it, everyone, and for once, that felt right. As they prepped for what lay ahead, Aaliyah took a deep breath. Could she really cook with their families, each person bringing their own flavor to the mix? A timer started in her mind, counting down to what could be a moment of truth. Would they all find the courage to embrace their pasts together? And so, with every heartbeat echoing in her ears, Aaliyah realized one thing: the journey had only just begun. What awaited them in the next challenge could change everything. Would this step toward unity bring healing or reshatter the pieces? Aaliyah took a moment to gather her thoughts, her heart racing like a quickened pace in a dance. She glanced at the kitchen, now buzzing with activity. Chefs hustled about, and the aroma of spices began to fill the air. It was a chaotic beauty, one that mirrored the turmoil she felt inside. "Omar, we need a plan," she said, urgency clawing at her. "This isn't just about cooking. It's about all of us, our relationships, our histories." Omar nodded, his expression resolute but gentle. "Let us start with what we want to say through the dish. Our families need to feel the love and the struggles we've endured." They began brainstorming, flinging ideas back and forth like a lively conversation. With each suggestion, Aaliyah became more grounded. A dish that showcased their roots through layers of spices and textures, that was what they needed. She envisioned vibrant colors on the plate: red peppers, golden turmeric, rich dark greens. How about a fusion of our favorite family recipes? Something bold that represents where we come from and where we intend to go. Yeah. We can make it a celebration of all the flavors we've grown up with, Omar added, his enthusiasm contagious. As they sketched out their plan, Aaliyah's mind drifted back to her childhood kitchen. Memories surfaced of Malik teaching her to stir sauces, of laughter echoing as their mother mixed the batter for sweet cakes. Those moments felt like a lifeline, grounding her in her purpose today. She couldn't let fear hold her back. "Can you call Malik?" Aaliyah asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I need him to be part of this. I can't do it without him." Omar paused, understanding rushing through his gaze. "Of course." He pulled out his phone, and the tension in the air grew thick with anticipation. Aaliyah held her breath as the phone rang. She could sense the weight of the unspoken words hanging between them, the family issues that had not been resolved. Would Malik see what was at stake today? Or would he shy away from the chance to reconnect? "Hey, Aaliyah. What is going on?" Malik's voice came through, bright and cheery, almost reassuring. "We're cooking for the judges, but there's this twist. Families will join us, and I need you here with me. We want to show everyone that we're still united despite everything." There was a pause on the other end, and Aaliyah felt her heart race anew. "I don't know, Aaliyah. Things have been rough between us lately exactly. But we can do something incredible together," she urged, pouring her heart into every word. "This dish, it's a fresh start. Let us show them how we can come together as a family again." Reluctance hung in the air, but Malik finally sighed. "Okay, I'll be there. Just tell me what you need." Utter relief washed over Aaliyah. "Thank you. I'll send you the address." As she hung up, Omar smiled. "You did it. That was the first step. Now we just have to trust that our families will embrace this." Aaliyah's stomach churned a little as she spoke. Would they? She couldn't ignore the possibility that it might be an uphill battle. With a renewed sense of focus, they jumped into action, gathering ingredients, prepping their workspace. With each chop and stir, they felt the energy build between them, something bright, something hopeful. The clock was ticking away, and Aaliyah found herself worried about what lay ahead. Would the memories they brought to the table be enough? Would love and unity triumph over their past challenges? As the timer approached, she couldn't shake the nagging thought, what if they worked tirelessly only to face rejection? Omar turned to her, gently brushing her worries aside with a hand on her shoulder. "No matter the outcome, we're here to create and heal. That's what matters most." Just then, a knock echoed off the kitchen door. Aaliyah's heart jumped. Was it Malik? Or perhaps someone else? With a resolve neither of them could describe, they stepped towards the door, ready to uncover whatever awaited them on the other side. Would it be a reunion that stitched their family back together, or a confrontation that shattered the fragile hopes they built? The door creaked open, and in stepped Malik, a storm of emotions brewing under his calm exterior. Aaliyah could see him taking in the scene, bright colors, fresh ingredients, the buzz of excitement that filled the air. "You've really set the stage here," he said, his voice tinged with soft admiration. Aaliyah smiled, relief washing over her. "Thanks for coming, Malik. We need to show everyone the power of unity." Omar chimed in, "We're cooking up something that speaks to our roots. A blend of our family flavors, spices that tell our story." Malik nodded, the shadow of uncertainty dimming as he caught the vision they had crafted together. "Good. Let us do this, then." As they all gathered around the kitchen counter, it felt like the tides were shifting. Chopping vegetables and stirring sauces became more than just cooking. Each action was a thread weaving their family tapestry tighter. Aaliyah's heart soared with hope. If they could cook together, maybe they could heal together. Amidst the laughter and the clinking of pots, Aaliyah caught a glimpse of Malik's face as he added spices to the steaming pot. Memories hit her, how he used to whisk ingredients with a flair, how they would giggle and race to claim the title of family chef. The warmth of nostalgia enveloped her, and with it, the realization that they were on the brink of something transformative, just as they were setting up the dishes, the kitchen door swung open again. This time, the faces that filled the space were those of their extended family, cousins, uncles, and a few dear friends who had always embraced Aaliyah and Malik with open arms. Aaliyah felt a rush of emotion as the crowd spilled in, filling the kitchen with energy and the aroma of spices like a warm hug. "Thought we heard some cooking magic happening," one of her cousins quipped, laughter echoing off the walls. Aaliyah felt buoyed by the support. "Join us. We're creating something special," she urged, her voice vibrant with excitement. As pots clanged and laughter erupted, Aaliyah's heart expanded. This was the moment she had longed for, a family gathered around love and food, cherishing what bound them, not what separated them. They all worked, each adding their favorite ingredient, creating a masterpiece. It felt monumental. Once they served the dish, a mosaic of flavors piled high in a colorful way, the room filled with anticipation. It wasn't just about presenting food, it was about unity, hope, and overcoming odds together. As Malik took a deep breath and scooped a helping onto a plate, he turned to the crowd. "This isn't just food, it's our history. A part of who we are. Together." Aaliyah observed how the crowd leaned in, eager to taste the connection. Seeing her family share stories over a plate of unity stew, she knew they were more than just ingredients. They were a canvas filled with love, forgiveness, and dreams yet unspoken. With the judges coming soon, she felt a wave of nerves washing over her. But this time, those nerves were laced with the sweet thrill of belonging. She turned to Malik and Omar, both of whom were surrounded by family, and saw their smiles bloom. "Whatever happens next," Aaliyah began, her voice proud and unshakable, "we did this together." The door opened once again, and in walked the judges, eyeing the beautifully arranged feast. Eyes glimmered with anticipation, and the air thickened with a sense of unity that transcended mere competition. Aaliyah felt her heart swell. This wasn't just about winning, it was about rewriting their story. As someone raised a toast, a flood of laughter erupted around the table, a radiant reminder that love was the key ingredient in every dish, every story. With her heart full, Aaliyah felt the past begin to fade behind her. "Do you smell that?" one of the judges said, savoring the blend of spices. "It's the distinct aroma of family." Aaliyah beamed, recognizing that this wasn't just a moment for validation but a landmark of transformation, a tapestry of triumph woven from resilience. They weren't just competing, they were celebrating the essence of who they were. Together. As the applause erupted around them, Aaliyah knew this moment would resonate in the echoes of her heart forever. Together, they would embrace each ingredient of their past, crafting a future that was deliciously united. The taste of unity lingered in the air, promising a future filled with hope and togetherness. The stage was set for a new beginning, and Aaliyah felt ready to face it all, plate by plate, together. Now, listen up. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these heartfelt tales. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Let your voice be heard. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.